Hey everybody, it's Patty Davis with Crooked Tree Creations. Several years ago, I made this Rainbow Spiral Dahlia Wreath, but I never did a video showing you how to make it. So today I'm going to show you how to fuse two meshes together, how to make a spiral effect, and build this beautiful and colorful wreath from start to finish. Let's get started. So I'm using both the poly Deco mesh along with the poly burlap, and I'm going to fuse the two together. Now I'm going to cut these into 10 by 10 pieces, and I'm going to use a wood burning tool. You want to cut these with a wood burning tool no matter what. It cuts down on the frame, and when you fuse these together, it melts the two pieces of mesh into one piece. So I'm starting out going with the lines of the poly burlap, and I'm just going to fuse this together up here at the top. And you can see they're one piece. They're fused together. And then I'll go to my 1-inch mark or 0 mark, okay? And I have 10 inches marked right here, just so it makes it a little bit easier for me. And then as close as you can to the 10-inch mark. It doesn't really matter. But just go nice and slow. Take your time. You don't want to go too fast or they won't fuse together, and you don't want to go too slow or you will melt it entirely too much. So it just takes a little bit of practice. One quick tip whenever you're cutting mesh with a wood burner, make sure you have good ventilation. I always like to have a window open or a fan running or both, because when you're melting the mesh, it can create fumes that you don't want to breathe. Now I'm going to do one more, and I want to explain why I'm combining these two meshes. The poly burlap is thicker, so I really like using that poly burlap because of the thickness. And then the Deco mesh is a bit stiffer, so it gives it a little bit more dimension, and actually it gives it a little bit more shine too. So together they create this great petal that's fuller and sturdier than either material alone. Also, fusing these together, it does help cut down on the fraying just a little bit more. Now, if you are making this wreath with different mesh, keep in mind you may need to make additional petals in order to get the fullness that these two have together. Now, you can always do just poly burlap or just Deco mesh. You can use the horizontal wide stripe, whatever you have on hand. Definitely go ahead and use it. But if you do not fuse these together, this is going to be very thick and full. Each petal will be very thick and full. And if you just use one or the other, it's not going to be quite as full, and it won't take up as much space on the wreath form. So you may need to make additional petals to go in to each space. So just wanted to keep that in mind, and let's get started. So I am using a 16-inch wreath form that I got from Wreaths of Joy. It already comes with the grid on here, so that is fantastic. We don't have to use the plastic canvas or anything like that. This is 16 inches. So If you have a smaller wreath form, you won't have as many rows as I will have here. You can use a 14. I wouldn't go any less than a 12-inch. If you go to all the way down to a 10-inch, you will see it wouldn't work quite as well. And I'll explain as we're going here, okay? But what we do here, I'm going to start with my red, okay? I'm going to make the petal. Let me move this out of the way so you can see real quick. I'm going to have my finished edge on the top right, bottom left, and it's in a diamond shape. Now all I'm going to do, I'm going to bring the right and left. I'm going to roll them together, just like that. Okay? And we try to make them as even as possible. And yes, you're going to have some of this sticking out. It's fine. It gives it a little bit more whimsy. Okay? So right here in the center, just scrunch that together, just like that. Now, I'm going to get my form here. And for this first row, we're just going to go right here on this middle ring. I'm going to place this. What we're going to do, see how we have that concave right here? We're going to squeeze them together like that. We want them facing upwards. I'm going to place it on the form. And before it's completely shut, make sure it's good and even. Okay. And there you go. Zip tie that shut. Now, you can see they're kind of going outward. We want them to be like this. So how do we do that? We take another 8-inch zip tie. I'm going to squeeze them together, bring that zip tie around, and just maybe an inch up from that very bottom. Make sure the zip tie is in the right direction. Okay, and we're just going to zip tie that shut. Nice and tight. Okay. Then you just cut off the excess zip tie and you're done. Okay, so I'm going to move that all the way over. I'm going to do another red. Again, top right, bottom left, diamond shape. I know this is all taking up so much space. Diamond shape. Okay. I'm going to roll these ends in. And you don't want them to be too tight. If they're too tight, let me show you. I'll just do it real quick. Make it kind of tight. You can see how skinny that looks. We don't want anything. We don't want a skinny petal. So let's just roll this. Okay, and try to make sure again that they're even. And then scrunch it together. I'll bring the form over. Okay. Make sure it's good and even. And pull it shut. Take another zip tie, bring it around. Okay. And there you go. Okay, so I'm going to move on and do 3 orange in the next section. Okay, so you can see how this looks right here. These will slide back and forth. Now, you will also notice, yes, this moves up and down. It's not stable, but once we add more mesh, going more rows, they will push the first row back. Each row will be pushed back and they will stay stable, okay? So I'm going to continue doing this because it's not all going to, it's going to be kind of hard to do this, but I'm going to go yellow, green, blue, and then purple. And then I'll be right back. Okay, so I wanted to show you just how big this is. It doesn't even fit completely on my table. So, so yeah, this is going to be quite large. I'm showing it's 29 inches, like wide and long, whatever, in diameter. Okay, so yes, we are quite large here. All of these petals on this first row, we're going to shift as like to the left. All of these, okay? Let's just do it that way for all of them. Okay, so that's good. But since we're doing a spiral, I'm not going to put anything right here between this first and second petal. Instead, I'm going to go between the second and third. I'll just through these wires, okay? And then we're going to go around that ring there, okay? I'm going to make my petal, put that right in there. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to take that second zip tie and put it around, just like we did before. Okay, so I'm between these two. Okay, I'm going to do another one here and then one in between the first 2 oranges. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over here just to make it so you can see exactly what I did. Okay, did not put anything between these 2 reds. Put this red between the second and third red. Put another one between the red and the orange. And then another red between the first 2 oranges. Orange number 1, orange number 2. Okay, this is what we have to do to make the spiral. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to go to the orange, put the orange between the second and third orange of the first row, between the orange and the yellow, and between the first 2 yellows. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way around. Okay? For the third row, just as we did before, We want to place the first red petal between the second and the third red petals of the previous row. Before attaching it, I want to show you where to position the zip tie on the wire grid. Place the zip tie about an inch from the inner ring. Personally, I like to go in a couple holes from where I want the bottom of the zip tie to be, then skip one hole of the metal grid and bring the zip tie up through the next opening. Also, try your best to position the zip tie vertically from top to bottom rather than from side to side. This one is a little more at an angle, but it will still work just fine. Then I'll place my petal in there just as we did in the previous 2 rows. Now we have the 3rd row done. You can start to see that the inner row of petals are pushing the outer petals back, and the outer petals are pushing the inner petals forward. So by the time we get to the center of the wreath, the petals will be standing straight up. For the 4th row, we'll only be adding 2 petals of each color. The first red petal will go between the 2nd and 3rd red petals from the previous row. The 2nd red petal will be placed between the 3rd red petal and the 1st orange petal. Now, I don't place that 2nd zip tie exactly in the middle. Instead, I move it a little closer to the orange petal to help keep the spacing even as I work my way around the wreath. Okay, so we got all 4 rows done here. Now, since we started with the red, I'm going to keep going with the red for the next one. And we're going to do 2 petals again. And I am going to start right here between the last red and the first orange. And the second one is going to go right here between the 2 oranges. Okay, so as I am doing this, what I'm going to do, like these 2 here, I'm going to kind of push the first red back, have this second red forward a little bit. Orange, first one back, second one forward. Same thing with this yellow. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way around. And I'll meet you back here. Okay, we got that 5th row done. Or was that the 6th? I don't even know where we are. So you can see the 2 red here. The next red is actually going to be between the 2 orange. I'm skipping all the way over to there. Okay, and I'm not going to put another zip tie here. We're going to be just fine without it. It's good and tight. So between the 2 yellow, I'm going to do my orange. So it almost looks like we can fit just one single color right there in the middle. And you know what? You pick your favorite color. I really don't know which one I would like to use. Of course, I'm partial to blue, but I think the red will be a lot brighter right there in the middle, so I'm probably going to go, actually the yellow would probably be the brightest. So I'm going to put that yellow in the middle. So guys, this is huge. I love it so much. This is 29 inches in diameter and about 10 inches in depth. Yes, it's big and it's bold and it's beautiful and it's so eye-catching. So it's definitely worth it. Now, if you didn't want to do a rainbow, if you just wanted to do other colors, you are more than welcome. Go ahead and do this in any color you want. If you're doing a spiral effect though, I wouldn't go any smaller than a 14 inch. The bigger the form, the more of the swirl effect you're going to get, the more rows you have. So I definitely wouldn't go anything smaller than a 14, okay? And listen, I have several other dahlia wreaths tutorials that you can watch here, and I will put that right here. So my name is Patty Davis. I'm with Crooked Tree Creations, and I'll see you in our next video.